In Ever Ever, every star child waits and dreams of their family. Has a star child chosen your family? Let's bring them home together. While I have my fabric here, I thought I might cut out my arm pieces and the first body piece. So the arm pieces, we need 4 of them. So while it's still double fabric here, I'm going to cut these out. Notice the grain of the fabric. That means the direction of these little ridges, we need to match up with this arm. So it needs to sit in this direction. That's because the maximum stretch is going to go this way. If we turn our arm this way, that means the stretch is going to go this way and you'll have a very long arm. This is the same as the head. When we draw the line will be the line that we need to sew onto. So I need to allow some space all around the arm when I cut it out to be the seam allowance. Okay, I have one arm. Now we pin this in place as well. And then we cut this out. So allow some space around it for your seam allowance. Now I can leave that as is because I'm going to trim that again later after I sew it. I just need one more arm now. And I forgot to put the pins in, so I'll do that now if I don't stop throwing them around. 2 arms ready for sewing. Let's sew around these arms. We're going to keep this top section open, so we're starting from this point and finishing on this point. So here's my hand. The thumb is the most trickiest part to do. So let's do the second one. So just like the first, we're going to take it nice and slow, particularly around that thumb section because that's a little tricky. Now that we've done the first row, we're going to go and do a second row just around it. When we get to the thumb, our stitches are going to meet in this little point here. That's because we need to cut the fabric here so that thumb has a little bit of movement after we've turned it inside out. Here is our little hand now, and Well, I'm going to go and sew the other one, and then we're going to cut them out in a minute. I'm going to cut this quite close to the top. And now I'm cutting this with a very, very small, it's 2 millimeters. It's probably an 1/8 of an inch if we're talking about inches. Now that we've cut out, like I said, we're going to snip in this little thumb here. Now we do not want to cut the stitches. If you cut the stitches, you'll need to go back and re-sew that area. But just a little gap like this, and that will help this thumb be able to sit up a little. So remove these pins and take your chopstick again. We're going to turn this the right way out. Now you want to make sure you get that thumb to sit up and push all of your seams out with your chopstick and give them a little pinch as you go around. So turn your arm over and do the other side as well. And there is one little arm. Now let's do the other arm. Okay, 2 little arms ready for some stuffing. So the first thing we want to do is create 2 little balls of wool around the same size, a bit bigger than that. And they're going to be placed in the thumb areas. Okay, so about this big. Now I need one the same. No, a bit more. Okay, when they feel about the same to you, you can go ahead and put those into the thumb area. So what I'm doing is I'm squeezing this area along as I push, otherwise sometimes you lose your little ball of wool in there and it doesn't end up where it's meant to. So I'm very slowly working it to the thumb position. Okay, push it into the thumb. Now that it's in there, we want it to stay there. So I'm going to pin the fabric just to keep that in there for a little bit. Now this does feel a little bit less than the other one, so I'm just going to add a smidgen more wool to that. Okay, let's work this one to the thumb position as well. Okay, now that's there too. Let's keep that piece in there as well. Now we need a piece that is about as big as our hand. This hand, not my hand. So when I condense it, it needs to be about hand size. So let's push that in. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit more here before I release that thumb piece. Now, let's take that out. Give your hand a little bit of a squish around so it's in a nice shape. Now we're going to continue just stuffing the rest of the arm. You can shape the wool after you put it in so it sits in a nice position. So we want our arm to be quite firm down the bottom. As we approach the top here, it's going to be less firm. So you want to feel your arm and feel if there's any bumps or dents in there. Then you can just manipulate that a little bit before we continue on. Now at this point, when you've got about a thumb's width between the end of the stuffing and the end of the fabric, it's time to bring out your paper template piece, because there is a line on here that we need to take notice of. So if you just hold up here, you'll probably see it's about here. I can already feel that the stuffing is sitting there. So that's about as high as I want that stuffing to go. And I'm going to place a pin in the position of that line. Like I said, it's quite firm down the bottom here, and at the top it's just a little bit squishier. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish this arm to the same point, and I'll see you in a moment. Once you have both of your arms done, I want you to take a moment to put them side by side and just check that they look the same, that they're stuffed about evenly, they feel about the same firmness. When you're happy with them, let's move on. So now that both of my arms are the same and I'm happy with them, it's time to create a little stitch in here, right where our pin is sitting. The fabric that is sitting up here, that is where I want to create my stitching. So I'm just going to draw a line following that pin line. Now, if you remember, this is this line on our fabric. So I'm going to create this line on both of these. So I don't want to sew while the pin is here, so I'm going to press with my fingers to keep that in place. So this is what the arm looks like, and I'm going to repeat the same for the other arm. So again, I'm going to push down with my fingers on this stuffing to keep everything in place. I'm going to get it as close as I can before I remove that pin. Lower my needle and sew that tiny little line. Two little arms already.
Thank you for watching, and if you found this video helpful, show your support by giving it a like. And if you'd like to stay updated with all of my new tutorials, please subscribe.